And there's some unfortunate news with Max Muncy. Just as it sort of seemed like there was reason to be a little optimistic, he's hit another setback in his recovery from the right oblique strain. Dave Roberts shared over the weekend, and we have this video up if you want to go and watch it, that Muncy is still dealing with some soreness whenever he swings a bat. So he's been shut down from doing that. Muncy's still able to do some baseball activities, but again, swinging a bat is not one of them, and that's kind of an important thing to be able to do. Blake, you were there when Dave Roberts shared this news. Was there anything you could sort of pick up from him, either body language or facial expression or anything, just maybe how concerned the Dodgers might be at this point?
I would say Dave has a pretty good poker face for that stuff. I mean, he's been misleading us for years now about injuries, but the one thing I did notice Dave said was Muncy's still doing rotational stuff, and he's okay with that, like throwing, doing the workouts and all that, and that's not bothering him. It's only the swinging that's bothering him. And Roberts said that was weird, kind of like different from how those normally work. So it's an interesting thing that's going on with Muncy. I'm not really sure what it is, or they don't have a timeline. I don't even think they fully know what's going on there because it's just such a weird situation there. So I kind of felt like it was a little concerning when they started trying Miguel Vargas out at third base and giving him some reps there in practice. Like, if you expected Muncy back fairly soon, there probably wasn't really a reason to make that move. But now that they were looking into that, probably a little more concerning for Muncy. And then I think it was the next day or maybe even the same day, Robert shared about the Muncy update. So when you kind of put those two together, it becomes a little more concerning. Who knows if Muncy's going to come back this year? I'm still going to hope he does, and I think they are too. But until he actually makes progress without getting hurt again, it's just getting tougher to say.
Yeah, and with obliques are a tricky injury to begin with. And when Muncy was first going on the IL with his, I remember Dave saying they expected it to be just kind of the minimum amount of time missed, or at least around there. And I remember thinking, I don't know about that. But then I looked up, I forget if it was last year or the year before. Muncy has previously had an oblique strain, and he did actually return. I forget if it was like the first day he was eligible or the second day he could come back. He made a quick return from the IL. And so I thought, okay, there is some experience with this injury, and he did make a quick recovery last time. So perhaps that will end up happening this time around. But it just seems, it hasn't unfolded that way at all. I think that part of me feels as though maybe the injury is a little bit more significant or severe than the Dodgers maybe let on at first. But I know Dave Roberts also said that they did take he might have called it a scan, I assume an MRI, but he did say there was another sort of examination of it, right?
Yeah, so he underwent another MRI, and they didn't find anything new or different there. They didn't see a tear or anything, at least from what Roberts told us. So that's still a positive sign. It's just he has to get past the point where he can swing a bat without still having soreness there. So who knows when that's going to be, if it's going to happen. It's just kind of up in the air and waiting for now. He can't do a whole lot until that goes away. So it's just wait and see at this point.
Yeah, and that's what, Dave kind of ruling out, at least saying the MRI didn't show a tear, was a little surprising to me, because I did start to think, even before this setback, because this is now the second one that Muncy's had, and he had trouble before after he started swinging a bat. He was dealing with some lingering, I don't know if it was soreness or just discomfort. I forget how he described it, but basically things weren't going well. So he had to stop hitting off a tee, stop hitting flips, sort of reset, then get going again. And when that happened, part of me thought, like, okay, like, is he dealing with some sort of tear here? And they're just not necessarily wanting to reveal that. I know, it's possible that Dave maybe could have misspoken when he said, the MRI that they took, the newest MRI, didn't reveal a tear. I guess that's one potential explanation. The other is, look, like we said to begin with, oblique injuries are just tricky in nature, and you never necessarily know what you're going to get. You obviously hope for the best. Considering that Muncy, there isn't any sort of real timeline for his return. Obviously, it's going to be after the All-Star break. My guess is it's even through, like, he's probably not coming back before August at this point, because he would have to start swinging a bat, take batting practice, participate in the simulated game, go on a rehab assignment. So I just don't necessarily see all that happening and him coming back then before August. So we're looking at least a few more weeks of no Max Muncy in the lineup. You mentioned Miguel Vargas getting some work before the game at third base. Is that a route, do you think, the Dodgers need to go down, will go down? How do you view third base right now?
That's such a tough question because they need his bat at third base, but when he was taking ground balls there, I was watching him, and the defense is about everything we've heard about him for the past 3, 4 years now, whatever it's been. Like, he's not a third baseman. He's a natural third baseman, if you want to call him that by his position title, but the instruction the coaches were giving him was about the fundamentals of it and stuff that like you could learn in little league. So it's concerning there. He didn't look smooth or anything natural there playing it. So we'll have to see. Maybe the instincts kick in a little more when it's actually game action and he's somewhat passable there, but defense was not great there. That's why the Dodgers have moved him around the diamond, trying to find what position can actually work for him. Because we all know the bat plays up with him. That's been his calling card forever. It's just the other side of the coin is, yeah, but he's probably a DH. So the Dodgers obviously have Ohtani locked in at DH for the next 10 years. So with Vargas, it's just about finding somewhere he can be okay. I don't have optimism third base is going to be that position, but they're kind of running out of options there because Chris Taylor has been better, but there's still a lot of struggle in there. Kike Hernandez and Kevin Biggio haven't shown anything offensively at all this year. They're two of the worst hitters in baseball. So they need something to click there, and I'm not sure Vargas is that answer, but they're going to try it.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. I mean, and it'll be interesting to see if maybe third base becomes something they try to address at the trade deadline as well, sort of, unexpectedly now, possibly needing to do so.
And now we're talking about starting pitching being a need, third base, shortstop, or second base, whatever else, backup infielders, outfielders, getting kind of tough there.
Other than that, everything is going just fine. Nothing to worry about.